So we have really great news, or simply put, is just simply more great news to share in today's update. Now, this technically did happen a couple of days ago. However, we haven't really made an official video. I believe it was really because I was just waiting for more information to kind of roll out. So it wasn't like I was putting out one video to share one simple fact. But the really great news to share in today's update, officially put out there, is that we now officially have a 10th state that has now officially opened a lawsuit in the fight in order to try to gain unemployment back. A huge congrats to the state now for becoming the 10th state of Louisiana. So they officially just filed a lawsuit. I believe they filed it technically a couple of days ago. But what's special about Louisiana is that they also happen to have been the first Democratic state to have actually filed a lawsuit. So what's great about this news is that it pretty much means that because they are, again, leaving politics aside, it's just because you objectively speaking can see is that there's a massive difference between the political party that has ended unemployment and the political party that has actually saved unemployment. It means that it looks promising on Louisiana's side, of course, because they recently just opened their lawsuit. It is still a little bit too early to say, but of course the great news is that it at least exists and we're moving forward, and I think that's the really great news. So I believe with all of this is that the 10 states that now officially have some kind of lawsuit going on is going to be, I believe, in Indiana. It started in Indiana, Maryland, then I believe Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, Florida, Ohio, and hopefully that's 9 to 10 states. Oh, and Louisiana, of course, becoming the 10th state. So the really great news is that we are making progress at this current time, considering the fact that we obviously are not going to get to 50 states because not 50 states ended unemployment, but I believe there's totaling about 26 states that have ended unemployment early. We now have 10 states that have filed a lawsuit, so we are approaching the halfway point. So that is the really great news. And as always, is because it started with one state, which is Indiana, that created a domino for thankfully now a lot of other states that have now officially followed in. And even more true because people in Indiana have actually won their injunction, have actually also confirmed seeing the money inside of their bank account. But in today's update, I really just want to kind of just clarify, or maybe give an update about where every single state stands that we do have updates from, because again, some states have been a little bit quiet lately, but based off of what we currently know about the dates of the hearing and all of the certain details. So we're going to get started right away, but as always, real fast, maybe before we begin, remember to smash the like button in light of the really great news. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell. Huge thanks if you guys have been here for a while. Huge welcome if you guys are brand new here, because we have gotten a couple of new people, which is always really nice. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts, or honestly also just any particular information that you might have about your particular state, because the resource or the places that people are now currently using to find information is pretty much either local news, so not necessarily nationwide news, but just news that's very local, or very under the radar news or information that actually a lot of times comes directly from the actual law firm. So basically just following the updates and status to the actual lawyer or what they put out about where they currently stand in the case. That's pretty much the case with Ohio, but of course we're going to go into all of those details in today's update. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So as just mentioned, is that the 10th state that has officially filed their lawsuit is Louisiana, which just filed basically a couple of days ago, earlier this week. I believe right now is that they're currently working on scheduling their hearing, so we don't really have information about that. Maybe when it does physically come out, we'll be sure to try to share it in a future update, or maybe share it in the comments if you guys have any particular information, because you guys will probably get updates, especially if you live in that particular state, faster than pretty much people in the other particular states. So of course that's what we're really waiting for there. Now in the state of Arkansas has a really interesting situation right now, because the really great news, as we kind of mentioned in the last update, which I believe is literally just called 9 states, because that at that time period 9 states opened a lawsuit. So Arkansas was probably the fastest state to open a lawsuit and also the fastest state to actually have their hearing and win their injunction. I believe in Arkansas, they were basically the state that managed to essentially file a lawsuit, schedule their hearing, and actually win and hear the decisions from their hearings and actually won it inside of their particular state within a single week. The only big thing that's going on right now in Arkansas is that I believe the governor inside of Arkansas, they've recently put together a brand new bill. And what this bill is that it's essentially just a totally separate bill that they're going to use in order to try to fight, in order to kind of end unemployment. What this is that if they end up approving this bill, it's going to essentially give the governors the right to now actually physically end unemployment. What they're really trying to do right now over there is that he's essentially trying to, even though they've already won the injunction and the right to get back their unemployment, I believe what's going on is that the governor in Arkansas is essentially trying to make it difficult to logistically bring it back. And that's one of the biggest differences is because when Indiana won their injunction or their hearing, they were able to actually confirm sitting inside of their bank account the money deposited, including the retro payments. I believe in Arkansas, a lot of people are still waiting. Of course, you can probably comment and share if you happen to be in Arkansas, whether you've seen the money physically deposited into the bank, because I believe right now is that they're currently sending the appeal. So the governor's trying to appeal the decision. One of the ways that they're trying to do it is to approve a bill. It's already been approved in its first stage, but they're trying to get through all of the different stages, and we really just have to see right now. But the big thing is, I think, is that we've officially won the right to get it back, but they're trying to make it logistically difficult to actually physically get it back and see it put into the bank account. Of course, that's something that we really just have to kind of wait going forward. Now, we do have updates about Texas. So Texas is a little bit of an interesting story where at this current time, as some of you guys know in the previous update, it's the one that's called 9 states. And we'll also put it at the end screen because I talk a lot about Texas and Ohio in that particular state. But simply put is that they did run into a situation that we kind of talked about, but they've essentially now postponed their hearing. And I believe it's going to be scheduled right now on August 12th, 2021. So essentially about 1 week from now. So they haven't even had their hearing yet, but we have to essentially see what actually happens in their physical hearing and then actually hear the decisions. And that's going to be something for next week. But as mentioned before is that all of these payments lawsuits, they are retroactive. So it's a lot more important about being able to just win it than the actual timing. Of course, the importance or the significance of timing is more of like if you are in some kind of press urgency for money, then you probably do want to win the lawsuit as soon as you can. But if you're able to kind of, sustain for a little bit of time, at the end, if you are able to win the lawsuit, the dollar amount will still end up very much being the same. So that is maybe one relatively great news to share over there. I believe in Florida, the other huge update over there is that their hearing is also going to supposedly be scheduled next week. And I say supposedly is because the information changes so fast, but with the assumption that everything stays on schedule, and so far over the last couple of weeks, it has been so far currently on schedule. I believe Florida is also going to be having their hearing next week, so we don't have any decisions yet. We're just going to have to wait until it actually physically happens and then see what they physically decide. Now, maybe just 2 things to really talk about what could possibly end up happening as a result, or that could impact the result of all of these appeals and lawsuits, is that there are actually 2 tactics a lot of governors are currently using in order to try to fight to end unemployment or combat the situation. The first is really what's going on in Arkansas, where they officially already filed their appeal to try to fight it back, but what they're also doing is to essentially create their own separate bill to give them the right to do so. And the other big one is actually something that happened in Ohio, sadly, which is the reason why Ohio wasn't able to successfully gain back their unemployment, even though they did literally the same exact thing as Arkansas, but just had a totally different result. And it's really about manipulating the judge. So this is actually one thing that is something that may happen. And I think this is maybe a little bit of just a warning or something to kind of have a heads up, is that there is a lot of say right now, and it's already actually, it happened in Ohio, that what a lot of governors may do is that they may try to create, or rather pick, a biased judge that is favorably out of favoritism on their side in order to try to sway the decision in the side of the governor. So this is actually exactly why, even though Arkansas and Ohio had the same exact case with the same exact plea, one state was able to successfully win it back, but the other state struggled. And I believe is that some of these states right now, there's a lot of belief that under the radar, when it comes to picking what judge they're going to be using to make the decisions, that some governors right now are trying to interfere and try to specifically pick governors that either swing Republican, or just simply put is governors that actually have a biased favoritism to lean towards the governor's side. It is something that isn't the most fair, obviously. It is something that I do know it's emotional. I do know it's something that's difficult, but it's just sharing what is actually physically happening and what has actually already physically happened. Kind of like what happened in Ohio. And I really think maybe the last state we're going to talk about is going to be in Ohio. So Ohio, as some of you guys know, is we already talked all about what happened there in the last video. I believe it's literally just called, again, 9 states, and we're going to put that at the very, very end screen. But what's currently going on there right now is that the law firm, the name of the firm is Dan Law, D-A-N-N Law. They've officially filed the appeal in order to try to gain it back. I think what they're hoping to try to do is to maybe try to change up the judge that makes the decision for the unemployment case, to maybe have a judge that maybe is a little bit more fair at this current time. But until then, we're really just waiting for what happens with their particular decisions. If you have any particular information, feel free to maybe share them below, because I do believe is that a lot of the information that's coming out of Ohio right now is information that's actually being released by the law firm themselves, Dan Law. So not necessarily on not even on particularly local news, but truly by just following the actual updates given by the lawyer that is representing the case in Ohio. But that's pretty much what I really just wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys maybe found that relatively insightful, maybe consider smashing the like button, because I think we at least have more great news than some harder news. Obviously there's some uneasy stuff, but you guys can always decide. And as always, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos like this. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well. Feel free to share any particular information, comments, questions about anything, and I think everyone truly always greatly appreciates the information. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.